salt is what makes our food have extra flavor.
Yeah, it's
That's
tasty.
sodium, it's salt, and we'll dig into this a little bit more, but salt is often seen as a contributing fluid. Salt really becomes an issue because it drives.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am naturopathic Dr. Fiona Chin, co-founder of the Kidney Disease Solution, kidney coach Genesis, and I am joined again today by the wonderful, fabulous Jessianna Saville. If you haven't seen Jessianna before, she is the director of Kidney Nutritional Institute and the head renal dietitian there. Jessianna has been in the field for a long time. She often speaks at educational events, training nephrologists and other renal dietitians about all things diet and renal function. She's quite the expert in the field, and she's been on our channel a lot for a very good reason. So Jess, thank you. Welcome back to the channel. So the first thing is salt. What is it? And do we actually have to worry about it when it comes to chronic kidney disease? Is it a consideration when we're thinking about our diet?
Okay, so I would say number one is salt. I think we all know, salt is what makes our food have extra flavor.
Yeah, it's
That's
tasty.
sodium, it's an electrolyte. It's really, really an important nutrient in our body. It gets demonized, so it's like, don't eat any salt if you have kidney disease, but it is such an essential nutrient. We all need to have some sodium in our diet. And the form by which we get that is one thing we'll talk about tonight. It's a big deal with kidney disease on multiple levels for the causation factors of kidney disease. Salt, and we'll dig into this a little bit more, but salt is often seen as a contributing part of developing hypertension, certainly a driver of hypertension for some people. Then if you have kidney disease, there's a lot of things that come into play with salt, and how it drives your kidneys glomerular pressure on top of blood pressure, on top of, a bunch of other things as well. There's even some studies and that showed salt was connected with gut health. So there's that whole factor. And then if you have late stage or even end stage kidney disease, and now you have to watch fluid, salt really becomes an issue because it drives thirst. And so for people that need a fluid restriction, it can be a really big problem. So really, like, the whole spectrum of kidney disease, from before you get it and contributing factors, all the way to if you've had kidney failure and you're on dialysis or even gearing up for transplant, salt plays a big role, plays a really, really big role.
So I think the other important thing to say in that is people may not realize, but salt is added to everything, isn't it? Like all your commercial foods and stuff, the way they make it taste good, sugar and salt.
Yeah, sugar and salt. It's such a huge part of a food supply. And I mean, even historically, salt has always been a really, really important part of food preservation. It's been a really important part of flavoring. I mean, salt is as old can be. From the beginning of time, you talk about salt. But in our modern day food supply and industrialized, you know, countries, salt is really used a lot in processing. And we develop a taste for it. Our taste buds adjust to it. It's used in restaurant foods. I mean, any good chef salts at every step of cooking, So it's really prevalent in most of our food supply and most of our diets.
Yeah. So I think that's the first thing to mention too, is people may go, well, I don't add salt or I don't eat a lot of it. But if you're eating processed packaged foods, if you turn over a can of soup or anything like that and you look, you're going to see salt added. And then in the nutrient panel, you can see how much sodium is in there.
Yeah.
But actually, that's something that people might ask as well. Is there issues with too low a sodium?
There is, and I honestly, I have so much admiration for patients because they work so hard and they just like take hold. They're going to solve this problem. But I have seen quite a few instances where their salt is too low. And there's two issues that I see pop up where I see that almost right away is Sometimes their potassium goes up. There's several case reports where the people were on like 500 milligrams a day, like they'd cut it out totally.
Yeah.
And they're on this really low sodium intake, and they incrementally increase the sodium intake, and the potassium inversely comes down. So you can be too low. The phrase we use in our practice, I say this all this time, is no is not better than low. Like no sodium is not better than low sodium. You still need some. So that's one issue that I see. The other issue I see, and I see this with, I see it in CKD, but I see it way more in polycystic kidney disease, where they drink a large volume of fluid as one of the treatment mechanisms.
Yeah.
Is that you get too low on your salt, and now you have this whole electrolyte imbalance, and you get leg cramps. Especially leg cramps is what I hear. A lot of leg cramps, and people just feel really like they don't feel good. And in that case, like just they have so much volume of fluid, they need to add salt just so that they have enough for their overall volume as well. So I've seen it where too low causes high potassium. I've seen it where too low causes things like muscle cramps. And so there is a happy medium, and sometimes you really need to add in a little bit of salt. And if you have symptoms like that, or like for you, you look on your lab, if your sodium is really super low and you're drinking a large volume, right? That sodium level in your blood is not necessarily the best indicator of whether you're eating too much salt or not. That's really important. I get tons and tons of comments on that. But it is a great indicator if you are eating enough salt in ratio to the amount of fluid you're drinking. And that's where I'll use that number.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And just for people who are really practical, so 2000 to 2300 sort of, what does that equate into as far as teaspoons or pinches of salt? Do you know?
It's like, I think a teaspoon is actually, I'm gonna just look it up. So how, I don't know. It's like one.
Yeah.
Okay, so one teaspoon of salt has 2,325 milligrams of sodium chloride.
Right. So that's a teaspoon a day, basically.
Yeah, basically about a teaspoon.
If you want to know more about what Jessianna and her team do at the Kidney Nutritional Institute, kni.org, I'll put the website link below. If you want to know more about what we do, head to www.kidneycoach.com. You'll find us on Facebook and Instagram under those handles as well. Make sure you hit subscribe and like. That way you will get notified anytime we put up more content. And if you have questions for Jessianna, or there's certain topics that you want us to cover, please put it in the comments below, and we will make sure that we add it to our list of videos and podcasts to create. Jessianna, thanks again for your time, as always, your expertise and your knowledge. Always appreciate you. And for everybody listening, thanks for being part of our community. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Okay, we'll see you. Bye-bye.